DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. At Merck Animal Health, we're shaping the future of animal health with pioneering science, connected technology, and insights-driven solutions to bring our customers an unparalleled portfolio of choices to improve cattle care and operational efficiency. We support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.
Hey folks, welcome to Doc Talk. We're gonna have a great show today. We got a familiar face and a great friend, Dr. Casey Olson, who is a great ruminant nutritionist, going to talk to us about cows, winter, cover crops, alleles, genetics, milk, and so much more. Stay tuned.
They're here, they're hungry, and they can't be stopped with ivermectin. Choose Safeguard when you deworm your cattle to take out resistant parasites like brown stomach worm, Cooperia, Nematodirus, and others. With Safeguard's efficacy, you can kill more resistant worms in your cattle, so you don't leave potential on the table. Consult your veterinarian for the diagnosis and treatment of parasitism. Then bite back at safeguardworks.com.
Hey folks, welcome to Doc Talk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson. I'm here with Dr. Casey Olson. And Dr. Olson is a ruminant nutritionist. He's a professor, the Lewis Professor of range cattle nutrition, yes. Ruminant nutrition.
Range cattle nutrition.
Here at Kansas State University. And you'd be hard pressed, in my opinion, to find anybody that's more accomplished in cows, calves, grazing, and just cow herd, general cow herd sense than Dr. Olson, and rare combination, to be honest with you.
Well, I appreciate that, Dan. Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show. And we're going to talk today about not just about, a lot of times we talk about just getting enough hay or just but there's some things now about why we should be doing this, why we keep that cow in good condition.
Yeah, the carrot rather than the stick. I think all of your listeners are going to understand that body condition is going to be the main driver of reproductive performance during calving and subsequent breeding. So we've got to get these cows through the winter with at least a body condition score of 5 to allow them to perform up to our expectations. Many ways to do that. And I hope we can talk about several ways to do it today, and also benefits that we can expect from doing it right.
Yeah. And, one of them's right off the bat on day one of that calf's life, right?
Oh, obviously, we know the rules about colostrum consumption. When the calf is born, the duodenum, the initial segment in the small intestine, has big pores in it, which can allow immunoproteins from colostrum to transit via milk consumption to the calf and give that blank slate calf mama's immune system for a time. And one thing we don't probably talk enough about is that mom's condition directly affects the quality of that colostrum in terms of the immunoglobulin content. When she's in good shape, you can be assured that she's going to be bestowing upon that calf, as she lactates, a strong immune system to get him or her started.
Yep. And then as we talked as well, we get all hung up on the amount of milk, heavy milkers, light milkers, yes. Milk intake by the calf and performance, which obviously, if all things considered equal, that's important. But we're learning more and more that maybe the composition of that milk and what's in there has got.
That's a hot topic. I've got to confess, I've always been a little skeptical that more milk is better. Cows that don't lactate a great deal, for example, still tend to wean pretty decent sized calves and have calves that are great feedlot performers. Milk quality, though, may be a frontier that bears thinking about over these next several months.
Yeah, and we'll get into this and get started. We may have to stop for the break, but when we're talking about milk quality, now we're talking about some of the genetics surrounding that, correct?
Obviously, yes. There's been some discussion this fall about a particular milk genotype in beef cattle that can bestow health benefits and growth benefits to the calf.
Well, how about we do this? Now that we've kind of left them hanging, we'll take a break, and when we come back, you're going to learn about how these genetic components of the cows that relates to the milk is going to make your calf crop wean bigger calves. You're watching DocTalk, and we're glad you joined us.
Hi, my name is Dr. Kirk Ramsey with Neogen. Today, we're going to talk about getting those first calf heifers to breed back. Their success is our success. So here's how we can help them thrive. First, nutrition matters big time. These new moms have incredibly high nutrient requirements. So not only are they still growing, but lactation takes it to a whole new level. So in order to meet those demands, separating and supplementing them away from the mature cows is something we probably should be considering. Second, body condition score is key. Heifers with a body condition score of 6 at calving are way more likely to breed back on time, so let's make sure to be tracking that. Third, early breeding season is a win-win. Start the season earlier for heifers. Heifers bred within 21 days of the first breeding cycle are more likely to breed back, they're going to wean heavier calves, and it's even shown that they're going to last longer in our herd. And last, address energy demands as early as possible. Energy requirements at calving skyrocket almost immediately, and compensating for poor condition after calving is nearly impossible. So focus on the last months prior to calving to make any condition adjustments that you need to. So by nailing these couple points, we boost their breeding success, leading to a healthier herd, heavier calves, and a more profitable operation.
Thanks for watching Cattle Intel by Neogen.
Are you a cattle feeder looking to manage for a stronger and more profitable set of cattle? Look no further than Igenity Feeder. Igenity Feeder utilizes DNA to gain insight into your cattle's genomic potential, with the information to predict performance, quality, and economic endpoints for cattle feeders. Animals are scored and ranked in a simple format, driving more precise and accurate management decisions. Igenity Feeder gives you the power to predict days on feed, manage variability within lots, characterize carcass performance, and focus on metrics important to you and your operation. With the data provided, you will identify superior animals earlier and maintain high operational efficiency. Maximize your profit and optimize performance with Igenity Feeder.
From the veterinary standpoint of it, we all know that stress is a precursor to a lot of other underlying diseases. The cells in the animal's body at different points can react differently to the vaccinations or whatever we're giving them. So if we can create an animal that is less stressed, 1 pound will pay for the whole cost of the therapies right now.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Casey Olson, who is the Lewis Chair of Range Cattle Nutrition at Kansas State University's Department of Animal Science. He is an unbelievable ruminant nutritionist and production management specialist that I would highly recommend that you go on the web, you look at his materials. If you need a speaker that's an expert, this is a great guy to get. We're talking about the allele and talking about genetics and changing in the milk composition. And I just think if you can distill that and help us understand it better.
Okay, I'll try. And I've got to preface this by saying I'm not a geneticist. I'm just an enthusiastic learner on this topic right now. But the dairy industry has been interested for some time about the beta-casein phenotype that's present in dairy cows. For a particular phenotype, that would be the protein composition of the milk, it has been demonstrated to bestow health benefits in humans that consume that cow milk.
Okay.
Recently, that discussion has moved into the beef cattle realm, and the genotype that produces that particular milk casein phenotype is something we can potentially select for. both in our bulls and maybe prejudicially against our cows, which will lend itself to healthier calves and also to better growth performance in our calves.
Well, if you think about it, and you go to the milk replacers, right? When we change the composition of the milk replacer and feed the same amount, we get better performance. So
Yes.
it would make sense that if genetically we're changing the composition of the milk with some of these proteins.
Well, from what I've read, there are 6 different amino acid sequences that could potentially be in that simple milk protein that we call casein. And this genotype that brings about the desirable milk composition, or the desirable milk phenotype, is labeled simply A1 versus A2. And an individual can be homozygous A2, which is the positive performance enhancing genotype, or they can be A1, or they can be heterozygous for the 2. I had not heard this mentioned anywhere before this past fall, but it turns out that a very simple selection tool possibly can help us find bulls and maybe prejudicially select against cows that have the desirable phenotype. I tell my students in beef science, Dan, you heard me do it before, that you can spend a career selecting for improved manifestations of health in your cattle herd and not really move the needle much. Potentially, this selection tool can move the needle a great deal, and it's very simple to apply.
Yeah, to me, this is fascinating because it's almost like an implant. I mean, if you think about it, and the return on investment is massive.
It potentially is massive.
So, well, great information. More to come on this topic, I'm sure, down the road. But we're going to take a break, and we're going to switch over to some things you can do to winter those cows, provide the nutrition, and keep those cows in good condition. You're watching Doc Talk with Dr. Casey Olson. We'll be right back.
Every farmer knows that understanding the landscape is the most important ingredient for success. When it comes to investing in precious metals, United Patriot Coin can help steer you in the right direction. No obligation, just solid advice. Call now for your free guide, 844-202-7834.
In the livestock industry, castration is a common practice to ensure proper herd management. All methods are painful, regardless of the age of the animal. At Solvit, we could not ignore the clear industry need for better castration solutions. So we developed LidoBand, a novel lidocaine impregnated elastrator, addressing the pain associated with band castration. It provides local anesthesia throughout the castration process. LidoBand, a small device that can make a big difference.
Ranchers, looking to elevate your pasture management game? Turn to Heinen Brothers for expert aerial application. With state-of-the-art equipment and seasoned pilots, we deliver precision treatments right to your fields. From fertilizers to herbicides, Heinen Brothers has your pasture covered. Visit HeinenBrosAg.com to learn more.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with my friend and colleague, Dr. Casey Olson, who is the Lewis Chair of Range Cattle Nutrition at Kansas State University. Great teacher. He spends a lot of time with students in the classroom, but he also spends a lot of time with us in the industry, and much appreciated. Wintering cows, it's not just about bale rings and hay and fence line bunks anymore. We've got cover crops.
Yeah, I wish it was as simple as that. For years and years, I would plan my entire production cycle around what I was going to feed and how I was going to feed it during the winter months. Historically, our cows at KSU, my cows at home have subsisted on dry, dormant native range, with protein supplement. And, you know, my major task of the late summer and early fall was finding that inexpensive but still high quality protein source. You know, starting maybe 15 years ago, um, I started really focusing on how much money, time, and effort I was spending on winter cow feeding, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice if these cows could graze green forage and feed themselves? And you know, I looked for over a decade, talked to people for over a decade about the possibility of using some kind of a cover crop in the late October to, you know, late March time frame. 5 years ago, somebody finally said yes. And I'm just amazed at what that's doing for performance over cattle here at K-State.
So talk to me about what you're doing for the cover crop, the composition, what are you growing and what are you grazing?
There are, I should preface this by saying there are people out there who are just absolutely wizards with seed combinations that go into cover crops. I'm unfortunately not at that level. But
you know some people.
I know some people. The cover crops that we're using, you know, a partner here local to the Manhattan area wanted to try cover crops for the purposes of enhancing subsequent crop yields. And we started out really simple. It was just annual ryegrass, and that was it. No additional components. We didn't have to give any thought about reconditioning thin cows. You know, in the late fall through the winter time window, our cows were picking up condition. You know, even though the biomass available did not look very shiny, there was not much there, but what was there was of sufficient quality where those cows just bloomed beautifully. So that made our winter cow feeding a lot less expensive. The thing we probably should have anticipated is what that would do for our weaned calves.
Yeah.
It's totally changed our outlook on things like marketing and wintertime feeding and backgrounding. You know, even in years when the cover crop production is a little subdued, we can count on 2 to 2.5 pounds of gain out of those calves as long as they're on those cover crops. And they have progressed, I should say, in their complexity over the last 5 years, those cover crop mixtures.
Cool. Well, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little more about carrying these cows in the winter and different topics from Dr. Casey Olson.
Looking forward.
Appreciate it, and we'll be right back after these messages.
When it comes to treating BRD, you want a product that you can count on to get the job done at an affordable price. Macrocin by Bimeda delivers on both. A straight shooting, no BS tulathromycin that does what it's supposed to do. End of story. You don't need to take our word for it though. Go to macrocin.com for customer testimonials and head-to-head trial results. For your cattle and your bottom line, choose Macrocin.
Hey, I'm Clark Victory. I grew up right here on this little ranch near Chelsea, Oklahoma. Roped and ranched all my life. A few years ago, I had an injury that created what they call a frozen shoulder. And after speaking with the surgeon in Tulsa, he told me that he could make my shoulder better if he did surgery, but he absolutely couldn't fix it. And I called Kansas Regenerative Medical Center. I did the stem cell replacement. By 12:30, my wife and I had lunch and was driving back to Chelsea. We work around here. Some days we work pretty hard around here, and my right shoulder doesn't get sore. It's like a baby's arm.
When you spot BRD in your cattle, that's your golden opportunity to target infection and its associated fever with a single dose of Resflor Gold, the industry standard dual therapy. To learn more, talk to your Merck Animal Health rep or your vet and see label at resflorgold.com. Animals intended for human consumption must not be slaughtered within 38 days of treatment. This product is not approved for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows.
Hey folks, for your firearm and ammo needs, for gun safes and much, much more, and to have it personalized, come visit us at United Patriot Supply outside of Seneca, Kansas. You can also visit us online at unitedpatriotsupply.com. Be sure to say that Dr. Dan and DocTalk sent you, and we'll see you down the road.
Time is money on the farm, and your cows are less productive when they're stressed. The Alertus on-farm test from IDEX allows you to quickly test cow side and identify open or pregnant cows within minutes on your schedule in the parlor, barn, or chute. It's more efficient for your farm, very simple to use, and puts you in control. With minimal training and reliable, fast results, sample-based pregnancy testing is better for beef and dairy producers. Learn more at idex.com/DocTalk.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Casey Olson. We're at Kansas State University, where Dr. Olson serves as the Lewis Chair of Range Cattle Nutrition. Wealth of knowledge and just a really quality human being. When we talk about range cows and we're talking about cover crops, you know, you and I were talking off break, and you just kind of piqued my interest. You said there's, you know, what we need to talk about when you're a tenant and the land isn't yours, how you work through some of this.
Yes, and I would anticipate that there's a lot of people in the viewing audience that don't have crop ground, would really like to use cover crops for cows or for weaned cattle. To do it, you've got to do it the way I've been doing it. You know, it took some years, but I was able to build a relationship with an individual or a company that owns farm ground, that is interested in cover crops for the purposes of improving soil fertility, and was willing to invest also in manure deposition that my cattle could provide to possibly, you know, further augment soil fertility. In a situation like that, don't assume there's going to be available water. Don't assume there will be fences. In our case, those are things that have to be provided by us, by our team at the cow-calf unit. In some cases, there are, you know, natural ways to provide that water. In other ways, it has to be hauled. You know, we've got to be cognizant about what types of cattle we're putting adjacent to roads and things like that, because they're only going to be behind a single strand of hot wire. You know, near a road, near a place where a potential escape could be a problem, it's better to have something mature and calm that handles well. But you know, in spite of the fact that there's a lot of work that goes into getting ready to use and to using cover crops, the rewards are just fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it.
So when you're putting in the cover crops, and I'm assuming on the rye, you're drilling it and you're putting it in the old-fashioned way. Have you seen any of the things where the aerial application of these cover crops and planting?
Not seen, but heard. So a former student of mine whose family farms on the west bank of the Missouri in the state of the Mississippi rather, in the state of Missouri, they would fly on an annual cereal crop over their corn ground. And you know, to hear it told, because they could get it on earlier, they had quite a bit of production before corn harvest even took place. Our partners are doing it subsequent to corn harvest, so there's a lag. Obviously, there's a lag between harvest of the primary crop, planting, and then adequate growth of the cover crop before we can get on and use it.
Okay. Any parting thoughts on heading into the winter and cow nutrition?
Well, I mean, a lot of the things that we've kind of touched on today that relate to excellent cow nutrition and that later are going to benefit the calf, they kind of touch on the idea of fetal programming. There's another thing that I've been, you know, honestly a little skeptical about. You know, I don't think there are any replacements for good body condition score, daily cow care. I mean, eyes on those cows. So you can be there to intervene if there's a problem. You do things right with the cow, that calf is going to be just fine. You're doing everything you can as an operator to make sure that calf is going to be successful as a replacement for you or as a feeder when he goes to get finished.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being on the show.
Always,
thanks for what
fun.
you do. Yep. Thanks for watching DocTalk. Remember, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. Always work with your local veterinarian. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, here with Dr. Casey Olson. We'll see you down the road.
At Merck Animal Health, we support you and your legacy by helping you meet the challenges of today with the innovations of tomorrow.